Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we will teach you how to write a 10-minute play. This is your cast, Herbert Mavis. Lesson 1. You might be 87 years old, but your characters aren't, so don't name them after your friends. Let's call them Sam and Robin.
Good, but who's who?
My name is Brandenburg Cheesepants, and I'm what you call a device. That means I'm a character who exists only to move the plot forward and has no intrinsic value of his own. Lesson 2. Subject matter. You can write a play about just about anything, but many topics are overdone. For example,
I don't know where I am. Oh, I've died and gone to purgatory / heaven / hell.
My life is terrible. I'm going to stand up high and do the whole will I, won't I routine.
My relationship's in trouble. But don't worry, I'm going to sort it all out in 1/6 of 1/24 of a day.
Predictable superpower.
Old person with dementia.
Visitor in a psychiatric hospital turns out to be the patient.
Time traveler.
Speed dating.
An inner voice.
Anthropomorphized inanimate objects. Or talking body parts.
you get the idea.
A transgender Vietnamese buffalo herder who quits farm life to open up a Subway franchise to float along the Pacific Ocean while she teaches him herself to juggle. And they're zombies.
You want to come up with an original idea, or failing that, you want to have a unique slant on an old one. Lesson 3. Exposition.
Remember when we rode our bikes to our friend Fiona's wedding and then tried to take some cake back to our old apartment on Smith Street where we used to live, and then that truck beeped his horn at you and you flipped him off and then he ran you down and now you're in a wheelchair?
Oh.
Backstory, given solely for the audience's benefit and often at the expense of realistic dialogue, is called expository writing. There's usually a better way to give the backstory to the audience.
Dude, you're crippled.
Okay, a better way than that.
Can we already see he's in a wheelchair?
Right you are, Skippy. Lesson 5. Never state the obvious. Give your audience some credit.
What? Even this lot?
Sure. I mean, maybe not that guy.
Yeah, no.
Hang on. You said lesson 5. Weren't we up to lesson 4?
Well spotted, Alex. Lesson 5. Attention to detail. There's always someone in the audience who can pick up on your continuity errors, so be thorough.
But now we've had 2 lesson 5s and no lesson 4, and my name's not Alex, it's Sam. Or was I Robin?
I don't know.
Why don't we just assume the first one was lesson 4 and the second one was lesson 5, and let's not get off topic.
Well, I mean, how am I supposed to know? I mean, you did them out of order, so naturally lesson 4 should be the one where you said...
Lesson 4, shut the fuck up. Moving on. Dialogue. Dialogue needs to tell your story, but it also needs to be interesting. For example,
So I was walking along the road the other day, and then a small dog walked up to me, and then started looking at me, then I started looking back at him, and then the dog looked back at me, and then I started looking back at him, and then I think I heard in my voice say, "I'm hungry, feed me."
see, that kind of dialogue could put a 12-year-old with ADHD to sleep after he's been set on fire by a 200-pound walking, talking fish bread.
Lesson 6. Don't use analogies if you're shit at analogies.
Okay, all right, sweetheart, let's hear your version of the dialogue.
Fine. As I meandered through the suburban nightmare that is my hometown, a nearby dog stopped by my feet at my approach. His lonely puppy dog eyes bored into my soul, and I felt his thoughts penetrate the deepest depths of my psyche.
Well, we hadn't quite reached the try to avoid flowery prose because it makes you sound like a complete wanker portion of the show, but it is good to get it out of the way. In addition to being interesting, dialogue also needs to sound authentic. For example, if your character is a 75-year-old man, he probably won't sound like,
"Hey, Mole, wanna go down to the besties? Roll some J's and get some grit on?"
not very convincing, is it? In a wider scheme of things, we want to avoid what's called talking heads.
I saw you flirting with him last week in that cafe. You laughed at everything he said. How could you betray my trust?
It ain't what it looked like. Bill Ray's been having such a hard time since his brother ran off with his wife.
Honey, there's a difference between consoling somebody and acting inappropriately. You crossed the line, blah, blah, blah.
It was just some coffee, blah, 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 who cares?
Dull, right? If you want to talk about the past, write a short story. Theater is about what's happening now. For example,
I know you're sleeping with her!
No, I never did!
You bastard! Well, guess what? I'm sleeping with her, too.
See? Much more entertaining, right?
It really hurt! Hold me back, hold me back!
Cry, baby.
Okay, next lesson. The fourth wall. The fourth wall is the invisible barrier between the audience and the actors. Now, breaking the fourth wall can remove the illusion of realism, but it can be fun to involve your audience.
Hey, baby. What are you doing after the show?
Ooh, I love your hair.
Me? I'm going home by myself, you fucking pervert.
I don't really care about your hair, I'm afraid. It was in my script.
Yes, humiliating your audience does have its place. You can always get a laugh out of picking on the bald guy, for example. Do we have a bald guy?
Oh, back there.
See, good, clean fun. But never do that to a bald woman. See, if you're going for the Schadenfreude angle, there are some targets which are simply off limits. If you pick on gays, you're a homophobe. Women, you're a misogynist. Asians, you're a racist. Fat people, you're just a heartless bastard. See, if the worst thing that you can do is pick on an obese Chinese lesbian. That kind of person basically has an insult force field. No, it's much safer to just stick with bald guys or gingers. Gingers. I know, right? I feel like we're getting off topic. Our purpose here tonight is to teach you how to write a 10-minute play, not how to act in one. So, general advice. Avoid the use of cheap plot devices to garner more interest in your story. For example,
I'm pregnant!
I'm gay!
I'm your sister.
I'm dying of AIDS.
I used to be a fan.
that's actually true. Sorry, Herbert. If you are looking to get humor out of your piece, aim for the gutter.
I farted in my cubicle last week and a piece of carrot came out. I was busy marking reports, so I just poked it back in with my stapler.
I got gastroenteritis after a long night of drinking and I was on my period. My cat died from the stench.
My dick is wider than it's long.
You are a cunt pumpkin.
Avoid the careless use of red herrings.
Honey, let's go. We're late for dinner with my mother. And don't forget my shotgun.
Oh, yes!
You see, now we're expecting her to blow her mother's head off over dinner. It's a really cheap way to convey a character's intentions. And if she doesn't go through with it, there was no reason to mention it in the first place. You see,
Hey,
this...
aren't we running out of time?
Yes. This is an important thing to close on. Once you've created your original characters, and you've populated your story with engaging people, the important thing is finding an ending. Most writers lose out here. It's going along fine, and then...
Predictable plot twist.
8 minutes of setup, then a punchline.
No ending in sight, so it just finishes for no reason.
You really think we're going to do that, did you? You can end on a cliffhanger like this.
It's the red wire.
No, it's the green one.
We only have 3 seconds left. Just pick one.
Here goes.
And curtain. We don't actually find out what happens, but at least it's an ending. Most plays end with resolution, a conclusion of the story to that point.
I got nothing.
See, the problem is our play has no story. How do you conclude a non-existent story?
We could all start singing.
What if one of us turned into a zombie?
Dude, what's with you and zombies?
Walking Dead rocks, man.
No, our problem is there's no setup. Lesson 14, always have a setup. Now we have no choice but to do something completely unexpected.
Yeah, but we've already done the ending for no reason ending, so...
You, sir, you're the only one that can help us. Go, fly.
Woo!
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to introduce to you. What's your name?
Tell me.
Bob! Bob, everyone! Bob has the unique distinction of being bald and a ginger. Yeah, it's great. Thanks for coming. Bob's going to handle our next act tonight, which is his famous impression of a turkey stuffing a human for Christmas dinner. Thanks for coming out tonight. Good night, everyone. Over to you, Bob.